First and foremost, you being here today is doing yourself great justice. Because if you watch the PGA Tour and you see what's going on out there, just imagine what country club golf will be, what public golf will be, and what junior golf will be, or high school golf. It's very important to understand the basic things that happen every time we play golf. And it's even more important to educate yourselves so that way there you have the least amount of issues that you can possibly have. And I will tell you this, anytime you get in a situation in a stroke play event this year, what are you going to do? Anytime you get in a stroke play situation this year and you're not sure what to do, what are you going to do as a player? We're not off to a good start here. You're going to play 2 golf balls, and you're going to leave a tee in the ground to identify what was going on, so when the committee, whether it's Dave or anybody else who's running an event, is alerted of what happened, and they go out to observe the situation, there is evidence of what happened. And remember, in match play, you can always play 2 golf balls. I mean, what did I just say?
Yeah.
No, you can, in stroke play, you can always play 2 golf balls. Now, parents, you may not like this, and I know you are very invested in your kids, but you don't know all the rules. I don't know all the rules. Everything has changed. So please do not tell your kid or another kid, this is a penalty or that's not a penalty. Okay, let a player play 2 golf balls and let the committee figure it out later on.
Bob, is it the same procedure with 3-3?
It is. Yeah, that procedure has not changed at all, so if you want to play 2 golf balls, the important thing to remember is this: you have to announce what you're doing. You have to announce which golf ball you think is the correct one. And then you have to play 2 golf balls into the hole. And then the most important thing is, it doesn't matter if you score the same with both golf balls, you have to let the committee know what's going on. So even though you might make 5 or 6, with this, you make the same score with both golf balls, you still have to come to the committee and say, hey, listen, on the 3rd hole today, I played 2 golf balls, I left the tee in the ground, let's go take a look, and this is what happened. Because potentially with one of those golf balls, you might have violated some rule and incurred a penalty that you didn't know about, and now that is potentially the score that you are going to get. So it's important to understand that. Hopefully the internet's going to work here. It will be good. If not,
I have a backup plan.
we have a back. We're good. I'm always good at talking. So I'm going to tell you a little about how the rules can trick you out pretty easily. If anybody has been watching golf on TV, it's only going to take one person on the PGA Tour or the LPGA Tour to put the ball in the hole with the flag stick in and win, and every one of you will want to do it. Just the way it is. So I know you all hang out on the internet, and you've probably seen the studies. If there is a small fiberglass stick like they have here, the percentage of you making a putt goes up by like 24%. If it's an aluminum flag stick or a metal flag stick, the chances of you making a putt with the flag in goes down about 6 or 8%. It's your choice, and your choice only. If somebody says to you, you have to take the flag stick out, they are wrong. That's your choice, and it's your choice every stroke you make. So if you're 40 feet away and you want to leave the flag stick in, you say, I want to leave the flag stick in, and you putt, then the ball ends up this close. It's your choice whether you want to leave it in or take it back out. It's a stroke by stroke choice. But this is how the rules of golf trick you out now. If you want the flag tended, that rule has not changed. You say, I want the flag tended, somebody tends the flag, it has to remain tended the whole time. So you cannot putt the ball and then say, hey, it's going a little fast, put it back in. That does not work, because if the ball hits the flag stick in that scenario, what do you get? Two-stroke penalty. Okay? No difference if you say, please take the flag stick out. Then you have the flag stick taken out, then all of a sudden you putt the ball and you say, hey, put it back in. Can't do that either. Because if the ball hits the flag stick in that scenario, two-stroke penalty. Okay? So, this is what you need to remember with the flag stick. If you want it in, you have to leave it in. If you want it tended, you tend it like it always was tended, and if you want it out, you have to leave the flag stick out. So that's how a simple rule like leaving the flag stick in or taking the flag stick out is a little crazy in today's day and age of golf. This is a short video, about 5 minutes long. Talks about some of the basic changes. And then I'll add some things to this, and then I will let you all ask questions for as long as needed. Before I play this video, I just want, because most of you in the room play a lot of competitive golf. It is never more important than this year to pay attention on the first tee when the starter is giving you instructions. Because there are local rules that a committee can put into play that may happen at one event and will not happen at another event. And I will give you a good example. Don't think you can do this unless you're paying attention. But you are allowed to listen to music while you play golf now. With earbuds in, with headphones on, with the little gadget, Wi-Fi gadget in the cup holder of a golf cart if you have one. But I will tell you this, there aren't many competitive organizations who are going to allow you to listen to music while you play golf. I know they're not doing it in college. We eliminated that in high school, right? Rhode Island High School eliminated. But you are allowed to listen to music while you play golf now. Now you cannot listen to your swing instructor or your golf psychologist or some guy talking about balance and tempo, but if you want to listen to music, that's your choice. Okay, but now, if you're playing in a Challenge Cup event, hopefully this will be on some sheet of paper that says there is a local rule in place that disallows people from listening to music while they're playing golf. And if you're not paying attention on the first tee, and the starter is talking about that rule, and you go out and put your headphones in, that's a two-stroke penalty for the first offense, a two-stroke penalty for the second offense, and what's the third offense? DQ, and we never want to DQ anybody, especially because you weren't paying attention. Okay, so that's another little tidbit on how important it is to pay attention on the first tee. Let's see if we have some power. Look at that. Hopefully this will work for a shot. Can you hear that way back there?
These changes have been 7 years in the making, and really just a recognition that the rules become too complex. We wanted to make the rules more fair, simple, and just easier to understand and apply.
Simple people like me, that's golf.
Exactly. Make it easier when you're out around the course.
So there's lots of things happening, but we're going to focus on how many today. What are we going to talk about?
We're going to focus on 5 key changes, and those are really what are going to affect most golfers when they're out there playing these rules.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to get out there and talk about it.
I get plenty of trouble
All right, because the volume is not very loud, I'm gonna do something a little different this morning. This is the biggest change in the rules of golf right here. Used to be able to search for your golf ball for 5 minutes. You can now only search for 3. This is the important thing to remember. When does the search start? When you get there. So parents, please be very careful when you start searching for your child's golf ball. Because I will guarantee you that some other parent is going to say that you were authorized to search for that ball. Okay? I know you want to help, but it only confuses things. Be very careful, because if your child says, yeah, you're authorized to look for my golf ball, that's when the time begins. That's when the time begins. Now, if there is no authorization, you're fine, help out, but don't be afraid to help out for everybody in the group. Okay? 3 minutes, that's about 40% less time than before. So everybody has a cell phone in today's day and age. Some high school events, you might not be able to use your cell phone, but if you are about searching for a golf ball, don't be afraid of time. And don't be afraid, I would say it's not mandatory, but I recommend you announce what's going on if you are helping someone search and you are timing. So anytime I come upon somebody searching for a golf ball, I'll say, how long have we been searching? 1 minute. Okay, we have 2 minutes to go. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds to go. We have 1 minute to go. We have 30 seconds to go. We have 15 seconds to go. 3 minutes has ended. Now you have to figure out what you're going to do. And what do you do after your ball is lost? Yes? You can play a provisional, and that rule has changed a little bit too. In the past, you had to play a provisional when you were on the tee. Once you left the tee, you were not allowed to do that anymore. In today's rules, you can. So you can go out, be walking out to your golf ball, and somebody is searching, and they say, we're having problems finding it, and the 3 minutes has not ended yet. You can go back and now hit a provisional ball. And while you're going back to hit the provisional ball, if you have not authorized somebody to search for the ball, does your time stop? I'm giving you some pretty obvious questions. Yes. Okay, the important thing is who you authorize to search for a golf ball. So you can hit a provisional ball. What else can you do? If the 3 minutes has ended and you have not hit a provisional ball, what is your only option? You got to go back and play from your previous place. Okay, you have to go back and play from your previous place. So again, this is the importance of paying attention on the first tee. There's already something in the rules of golf that is very misunderstood. And I think the USGA and the R&A had very good intentions by trying to speed up play, but I'm not sure they've communicated it properly to the golfing world. There is a local rule now in the rule book that says that a committee can implement a rule for a ball lost or out of bounds. I will tell you, as far as I know, nobody in the world of competitive golf is ever going to put this local rule into play. And again, if you're not paying attention on the first tee, but your club where you play golf implements that local rule, and now you go out and you hit a ball way left on number 1, the ball is lost or out of bounds, and you get out there and your mind tells you, oh, I'm allowed to go out to the edge of the fairway now and hit 4. And you do that, and the local rule is not in play. You're not going to use that, are you, Dave?
No.
Okay? You've hit from a wrong place and you've gained a significant advantage. What is the penalty for that once you tee off from the next tee? It is disqualification, and there is no way for a committee to get you off the hook. Okay, so that's why it's important to play a provisional ball and understand what's going on when you get on the first tee, listening to the starter. Okay, pay attention to the next piece. It's very important.
In speed of play, and when you're searching, you're likely to find the ball sooner rather No penalty. There's a change there. Ball's accidentally moved during search, no penalty to you.
So what do?
Just replace the ball on the spot.
Back where I accidentally hit it. Okay, ball's in play.
Yep.
So play as is or taking a play.
Okay, what did everybody just hear?
No penalty.
No penalty if you accidentally move your ball when doing what? Searching, that's the key word. So if you are searching for your golf ball and it accidentally moves, you put the ball back where it was and you play for free. Okay? Searching, that's the key part. On the putting green, it's anything you do. As long as the ball is accidentally moved on the putting green, you put it back and you putt. But off the putting green, only when you're searching. Only when you're searching.
So Bob?
Yes.
Just to clarify, on the putting green, if you have taken a stance and your putter is in back of the ball, and let's say you look up at the hole and you inadvertently nudge that ball forward,
Yep.
would there be a penalty for that?
Only if the committee has facts that say you did it intentionally. If you do it accidentally, it is no longer a penalty. Most of the rule changes have to do with what the player's intent was. And that's something pretty important to remember.
Correct.
Okay.
So what happens if he doesn't find the ball? So if it isn't found in those 3 minutes for search, you have to play the stroke and distance. So for one penalty stroke, go back to the spot he last played from.
Any other options?
So there might be. If the local rule, another way to help you to play.
We skipped over the local rule.
Okay, Catherine, I hit it into this hazard. What can I do now under the new rules?
We actually have a terminology change for these new rules. We don't have hazards anymore. We have separate rules for bunkers, and then what you used to know as water hazards are now penalty areas.
So any hazard that's not a bunker is known as a penalty area, and bunkers are just bunkers.
Right, so we've got these red and yellow penalty areas now.
All right, so if I want to go ahead and hit it, Chris is going to demonstrate for us. What can we do under the rules?
So you can actually do anything in here, the penalty area, that you could do if your ball was in the fairway or the rough.
Like, what I'm doing now should be illegal. It
Not
was.
anymore.
I can ground this club.
Correct.
What if I want to take a practice swing?
No
I can
problem.
hit the ground, test it, everything. Okay.
Yep.
What about this stuff? I would love to move this stuff around my ball, but I'm in this penalty area.
So loose impediments, go ahead, move them out of the way.
No penalty.
As long as the ball doesn't
All
move,
right.
no penalty.
Excellent.
So if I decide that I don't want to hit it out of the penalty area, or I can't hit it out of the penalty area, what are my options then?
So you can still take relief for one penalty stroke outside of the penalty area.
Okay.
All right,
So we've got this red penalty area here. You want to take lateral relief, 2 club lengths from where it last entered.
But dropping it has changed. Now, I'm old enough to remember, we used to have to roll it down our back.
Now these new rules are calling for dropping from at me.
Okay, before we get to dropping, what did you learn about general terms of the golf course?
No more hazards.
Yeah, the word water hazard no longer exists in the rule book. They're called penalty areas, and they're either red or yellow penalty areas. And what can you now do in a penalty area? You can ground your club. You can remove loose impediments. You can take a practice swing. You could actually take a divot during the practice swing and watch the divot fly out of the penalty area. This is what you can't do in a penalty area. Okay, you cannot take practice swings to improve the area where your stance is going to be, improve the area where your intended swing path will be, and you cannot improve the lie of your golf ball. Dave?
With regards to the penalty areas, when you're taking lateral relief, you can no longer go to the opposite side, is that right, of the hazard?
That is correct.
Is that accurate?
That is correct,
That's not an
yes.
option anymore?
Which 99% of golfers never even knew existed to begin with, but if you did, you were always one up on the rest of the field.
Okay.
So, yes, and we'll talk about your options when we get there. So again, please remember, your ball is in a penalty area. You can remove loose impediments. You can take practice swings. You can ground your club. What you can't do is improve your area of intended swing, the area where your stance is going to be, or the lie of your golf ball. Let's see how sharp you are early on Sunday morning. Your ball is in 6 inches of water. Can you put your glove under the water right behind your golf ball? Yes, you can, because the water is no different than the ground. Okay?
Height.
So go out about knee height.
Yep, straight down,
There we go.
right in the relief area.
And what is it about dropping from knee height if that's what you landed on?
So dropping from knee height, we retain the randomness in dropping, but hoping to reduce the number of times players would have to drop again.
And the same rule applies of, two dog, if it does roll back in hazard or whatever, then place it.
Yep, we still have time to drop in place if the ball rolls outside of the relief area.
Here, do you mind grabbing the stick for me?
Absolutely.
Well, actually, Chris, you can now putt with the flag stick in.
Really?
Okay, we're gonna talk about dropping again in about 5 minutes, but the important thing to remember is this. One part of that rule has not changed. How many times are you allowed to drop before you place? Twice. Okay, drop, and then place. And that's all I'm gonna talk about when it comes to dropping right now, because we're gonna cover it a little more in a second.
Yes, you don't have to have it removed anymore.
And what happens if you hit the flag stick as the ball goes in?
So no penalty. In this case, the ball is hold, but if it were to bounce off, no penalty still, but play the ball as it lies.
Great, I like it.
Yeah, great for
Yeah,
player.
definitely. So you actually can now repair any damage that's been caused by another person. So spike marks, scuff marks with people's foot.
Clearly, there's something in front of the ball, not a ball mark. I can repair that.
Yeah, scuff mark caused by another player, go ahead
Tap
and
it
fix
down.
it.
With the stick in.
Yeah.
Play away.
All okay.
Yeah.
Easy.
Captain, this has been great. I love what the USGA has done. Really gonna make the game a lot more fun.
Bob,
Yes,
so you can repair that on the green. Can you repair a pitch mark in the fairway?
you cannot. So on the putting green, you are allowed to fix anything at all except aeration holes made by the maintenance
I
crew.
always wake up and everybody has spent time at the beach, and while it can be enjoyable,
So on the putting green, you can fix anything now. You can tap anything down. This is what you can't do on the putting green. You have a nice 6-foot putt to win an event. You can't take your putter and tamp down the ground and make a little channel. So your ball will stay in that little groove and go in. But you can tap down spike marks. You can fix scuff marks. You can fix some type of damage that maybe somebody was leaning on their putter and it made a little indentation. Okay? But you cannot make a channel so your ball will somehow get into the hole. Any questions about what you can and cannot do on a putting green? Yes?
With the flag in the hole,
Yes?
what is considered holding the ball?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So the ball now is holed. In the past, the ball had to come to rest at the bottom of the hole. Now, if this is our flag stick, and the ball is resting against the flag stick, if any part of the ball is below the lip of the hole, that ball is considered hold. So that's a huge difference. Now, please do not do this until we get clarification, because I know you all watched it last week. What did Tiger Woods and Kevin Na do? Kevin Na was more obvious than Tiger Woods, but we're not sure if Kevin Na caught the ball before it hit the bottom of the hole or not. So the rule says that the ball is hold when it's leaning against the flag stick and any part of the ball is below the edge of the hole. We're really not sure what the rule is if the flag is out. So please let the ball hit the bottom of the cup if the flag is out until the USGA clarifies that, and I'm sure they will be coming out with something in the very near future, because now, well, not quite yet, but in a few more weeks, probably 6 weeks or so, everybody in the northern part of the country is going to start playing golf, and things are going to change quickly. They're going to change quickly. We're going to get rid of our flag stick. Okay, from a terminology standpoint, it's very important to understand this. Yes, Nick?
Oh, I have a question from the greens though.
Yeah.
It is not hold, it is up against the flag stick.
Yeah. So, what you're saying is somebody didn't quite put the flag stick in properly, and the ball is leaning against the flag stick, but no part of it is below the hole. It would be just like before. You move the flag stick, you the player, or anyone you authorize, you move it a little. If the ball goes in the hole, it's hold. If the ball stays on the lip, that's where it is. Yep. And I will tell you, I talked to the superintendents last Wednesday, and I emphasized this very strongly, how important it is to cut a hole nice and straight now. Because when a golfer hits the flag stick and the ball doesn't go in, whose fault is it going to be? The guy who cut the holes in the morning. Never going to be your fault. Okay, from a terminology standpoint, if you were paying attention, a water hazard is its own rule now. Ooh, that's an error. A penalty area is its own rule now. And a bunker is its own rule now. Okay, very important to know that. Penalty area is its own rule, and a bunker is its own rule. And here are the new things that you can do in a bunker.
On the golf course, most players prefer to avoid these specially prepared areas of sand called bunkers. If you happen to find yourself in a bunker, make sure you don't deliberately touch the sand to test its consistency, such as with your hand, a rake, or a club. Also, don't touch the sand behind or in front of the ball, or during a practice swing, even if by accident. The good news is you can move loose impediment and movable obstructions, and even touch the sand with your club elsewhere in the bunker, as long as it is not to test the conditions. When you decide your ball is unplayable in a bunker, there are several one-stroke penalty options to consider. In the bunker, you can...
All right, before we get to the unplayable piece, what is the key to this rule? What your intent is. What your intent is. If it is determined that your intent was to test the condition of the sand, you will still be penalized. But if you walk into the bunker and you're not really paying attention and your club hits the sand, that would not be a penalty. Okay, you are also allowed to rake in a bunker anywhere except for where you're going to stand, where the lie of your ball is, and where the intended area of your ball traveling is. Anywhere else in the bunker you can rake now before you play a shot, unless you are raking for what reason? To test the condition of the sand. And again, golf is a game of honesty and sportsmanship. So we would hope that you are all caring for the course and not trying to gain some information. So the important thing to know is this. When a ruling occurs and a rules official comes upon a situation, you need to learn how to answer questions properly. So if you are raking in a bunker, to care for the course, and the rules official says, why were you raking? What is your answer? To care for the course. Never say it was to learn or test the condition of the sand, because that's a penalty, no doubt about it. Dave?
Bob, now if you inadvertently touch the sand when you're taking your backswing, no
Yes.
penalty there, right?
On your backswing, it is a penalty.
It is?
You cannot ground your club directly behind the ball, directly in front of the ball, and when you take your backswing away, if you clip the sand, it is still a penalty.
It is still a penalty.
Yes, it is. Anything else on things you, oh, we forgot another thing. What can you now do in a bunker that you couldn't do before? You can remove loose impediment. So the loose impediment is anything that is natural. Okay, anything that is natural. So leaves, twigs, stones can now be taken out and be thrown aside. The important thing to remember is this: you cannot remove a loose impediment that causes your ball to move, because that would still be a penalty. You put the ball back with a one-stroke penalty. So you can remove anything that's in a bunker now, you just can't remove it and cause your ball to move. Okay, any questions about that?
Trash, remove trash, right?
Yeah, because trash is considered a movable obstruction. You could always actually move trash. Soda can, cigarette butt, stuff like that. Okay, now these are some other things, yes.
Are you still entitled to the lie that your ball originally came to? So if another player's in the bunker,
Yep.
their shot covers your ball with sand, you're still
Mhm.
allowed to.
That is correct, yeah. So anytime your lie is altered by another player, once it comes to rest, you are always allowed the lie that you had while your ball is at rest.
What about when your ball is pressed in the bunker, it's against the rake, when you move the rake, the ball moves?
Yep, so what is a rake in the world of golf? It's really not a rake for rules purposes. It's called movable obstruction because it's man-made. So if your ball is against the rake, my suggestion is this: you put a tee in the ground next to the ball, you move the rake, the ball moves, you have to replace it for free. If it happens to be on a slope, you place it again. If it moves, then you stop moving the ball like 3 inches at a time until we can figure out where the ball will come to rest without pushing it into the sand. Okay, just a little bit at a time without going near the hole, and then once it comes to rest, then you're free to go again. That's why it's important to take rakes out of bunkers when you're playing golf. Okay, here's the things you can do now if you're in a bunker and you don't like what you have.
You can either drop within 2 club lengths, or go back on the line. Or, for a 2-stroke penalty, you can get out of the bunker by going back on the line as far as you like.
Okay, very important to understand this new rule. You determine whether your ball is unplayable. Who else does? Nobody. You and you only determine if your ball is unplayable. If your ball is on the putting green and you don't like where it is on the putting green, can you say, my ball's unplayable? Yes, you can. You are the one who determines if a ball is unplayable. Okay? The only place you cannot claim your ball to be unplayable is where? Penalty area. Okay? Because the penalty area, the penalty to get out is the same as an unplayable. So if your ball is unplayable in a bunker, you can take 2 club lengths, stay in the bunker, drop 1-stroke penalty. You can always go back and play from your previous place anytime you want to. Doesn't have to be in a bunker, it can be anywhere. Anytime you hit a shot,